Hey guys, so Elon Musk thinks you're as stupid as he is. So let me explain. So in a press conference, Elon Musk, in front of the camera, told the world that the Social Security Administration is so full of fraud and abuse that there are people who are 150 years old claiming, or at least claiming to be 150 years old, collecting Social Security. And I know there are people who lap this up. So maybe Elon Musk is correct. So what's actually going on here? Well, a lot of the software that the government uses is written in a language called COBOL. It stands for Common Business Oriented Language. It's this programming language that was created back in 1959. So it's not really used anymore. And it's got some kind of funny eccentricities that newer programming languages don't have, right? So this actually came up a few years ago with the pandemic thing, by the way. I'll kind of talk about that in a second. So one of the eccentricities of this language is that you don't actually put in dates, but what you do is you choose a base day and you describe the date as being so many days after this particular date, right? Kind of like in our calendar, how we say the year is 2025. We say we start with the birth of Christ and we do so many years after that. Like much of the Western world, not everybody does that. The Jewish calendar doesn't do that. The Islamic calendar doesn't do that, but we do that in much of the Western world, right? So Elon Musk looks at this and he's like, there are people claiming to be born in 1875. No. So when you're doing this, when you're putting in data, if you don't have the data and you need a placeholder until you can find that data, or at least put it in later, you have to put something in. So they just choose that date. And the reason they choose that date is because everyone will look at that. Everyone who knows what's going on, anyone who has any sense, who actually works for the administration will see that and be like, oh, that's a placeholder. Because, well, with a lot of programs, you got to put something. You can't leave it blank. You got to put the data. But if you know how it works, when you see that, you know that no one's born in 1875, so you just know that it's a placeholder, right? Now, is it possible for you to claim to be that age and collect Social Security since you can put that date in? And the answer to that is no, because the way the Social Security Administration works is after 115, your Social Security gets cut off, right? Now, what happens if you live past 115? Can you reapply for Social Security? I don't know. But I know at 115, it gets cut off. Now, could there be people who are claiming to be 105, 110? Possibly. But that's not what Elon Musk said. Instead, he makes a joke about how, basically saying how stupid and how ineffective this government agency is. The genius Elon Musk, who doesn't understand how it works. So how does this date, by the way, go back to the whole 5 years ago? Because if you guys don't remember, it came up during the pandemic that a lot of the apps that were used for applying for unemployment, they were also written in COBOL and they needed to be updated or changed or improved. So they had to actually bring in a whole bunch of programmers to make changes to it. Kind of reminds me of that scene at the end of the movie Battleship, where they had to bring in the old sailors to work the old ship. I've never actually seen Battleship, but I know that's what happens. All right. So 2 points to make here. One, what makes you a good leader? Being a good leader is surrounding yourself by people who know what you don't know. And what Elon Musk has is a bunch of teenagers who don't know how the government works. They don't know how the system works. And they're just going around breaking things, not knowing how they work. And these things aren't just random things. They are our things. The Social Security Administration is ours, right? And this guy who's unelected, who's unappointed by our people, by our Congress people, unappointed, just gets in there. He's not been, he hasn't gone through any congressional hearings or nothing. So when he does these things, when he lies to the American people, is he lying or is he just being misinformed? We don't know, and we don't have to know, because if we want to find out, he's not accountable. He doesn't have to be accountable. He hasn't been elected. He hasn't been officially appointed, and he doesn't want to be officially appointed because he gets all of the powers, all of the privileges, and none of the accountability. And that should be troubling to you, right? So just think about this. Bill Clinton lied about getting a BJ in the Oval Office, right? It was dumb, but he lied. So he was impeached. He was investigated. Elon Musk lied to us about this, and he's not going to get investigated. And that honestly should be troubling to everyone.